evening, everyone. It is April 11th at 6:01 p.m. and welcome to the Poway Unified School District Board of Education. I'd like everyone to rise and stand for the pledge. Thank you. Ready? Begin. All right, so we'll be on agenda item 3.2, report out of closed session.
Closed session began at 4:07, and the Board of Education took the following action. For 2.1-B-1 in the matter of pending existing litigation, case number 201-808-1172, on a motion by O'Connor Radcliffe and a second by Zane, the board voted to approve the final settlement. The vote of the board was as follows: Patel, O'Connor Radcliffe, Kuvret, Beatty, and Zane, all voting aye. For 2.1-B-2 in the matter of pending litigation, case number 201-811-0272, on a motion by O'Connor Radcliffe and a second by Patel, the board voted to approve the final settlement. The vote was unanimous, with Patel, O'Connor Radcliffe, Kuvret, Beatty, and Zane all voting to support. For 2.1-B-3 in the matter of pending existing litigation, case number 201-812-0254, on a motion by Kuvret and a second by O'Connor Radcliffe, the board voted to approve the final settlement. The vote again was unanimous, with the ayes being Patel, O'Connor Radcliffe, Kuvret, Beatty, and Zane. For 2.1-B-4 in the matter of pending litigation, case number 201-812-1058, on a motion by O'Connor Radcliffe and a second by Beatty, the board voted to approve the final settlement. Again, everyone voted aye: Patel, O'Connor Radcliffe, Kuvret, Beatty, and Zane. For 2.3-A through F in the there's no more. Let's see how that rest of it. No other reportable action was taken during closed session, and the closed session adjourned at 5:09.
Thank you, Ms. Kuvret. So looking at members in attendance, we have all board members in attendance except for our student board member, which I believe he'll be coming shortly. Moving on to item 3.4, welcome to the public. Ms. Kuvret.
Welcome to the monthly meeting of the Board of Education. If you would like to address the board on any agenda item, please complete a speaker slip. All requests to speak must be submitted to the clerk of the board before the agenda item comes up. If you are requesting an agenda item be pulled for public discussion from section 5.0, consent calendar, a speaker slip must be submitted to the clerk now, as approval of the consent calendar is one of the first items up for approval. Item 4.2 is placed on our agenda to enable members of our community to bring items that are not placed anywhere else on the agenda to the board's attention. Speaking time is limited to 3 minutes per speaker, with a maximum of 15 minutes per topic, unless waived by the board president. There will be a 30-second yellow warning light when time is running out. Speakers may only speak on one topic under item 4.2 and may not defer their speaking time to another individual. If there are concerns regarding specific individuals, it is preferred that the speaker refrain from naming them publicly to respect their privacy. The board will accept and review any written materials that would provide more specific information. The Brown Act does not permit board action or extended discussion of any item not on the agenda, but your concerns will be referred to staff. With that said, welcome and thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. Now we'll move on to agenda item 3.5, approval of the agenda sequence. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second. On a motion by Mr. Zane, second by Ms. O'Connor Radcliffe. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. That brings us to oral presentations. Item 4.1 is our student board representative reports. First up is Kyle Ritter from Abraxas High School. Welcome, Kyle.
Hello, and thank you for allowing me to present to the board. My name is Kyle Ritter.
We have two programs at Abraxas High School, the Diploma Program and the Transition Program. I'm a student in the Transition Program. This is my last year in the program. The Transition Program is for for young adults 18 to 22 who learn important life skills at Abraxas and the community. The students in the Transition Program continue to develop their mobility skills, using the MTS in the community to get to and from their job sites, make purchases at grocery stores, and improve their overall independence. The students have begun working and volunteering at a variety of job sites in the community. We have worked at Phil's Barbecue, and I'm now working there in a paid position. The Transition Program has had 5 students directly hired into positions in the community this year. Channel 7 News aired a feature about the Rancho Bernardo Community Presbyterian Church Preschool and the Transition Program's involvement in the preschool. Monica Dean of Channel 7 News interviewed Trevor, one of the transition students, about his work with the preschool students. The Leadership Club has held 3 blood drives and volunteers have donated 90 units of blood, getting us closer to our goal of 120 units for the year. The Leadership Club began a read aloud program with students at Pomerado Elementary and ran a technology day at Brookview Senior Center, helping seniors learn how to use their smartphones better. Abraxas received a generous grant from the Sunrise Rotary to support the work of teachers in both programs. The advanced construction class began work on a tiny home at their culminating project. The construction program is available to all high school students in the PowayUSD. The English classes took a trip to the Old Globe, PowayUSD, Poway Unified School District. The English classes took a trip to the Old Globe Theater to watch a series of students-run short plays sponsored by the Playwright Project, and the La Jolla Playhouse to watch the premiere of the show Diana, and participate and talk back with the cast. The Diploma Program held its second annual Men's and Women's Day, in which presenters from the community gave talks on topics ranging from healthy relationships to managing credit and debts out in the real world. What a good thing. Students from both the Diploma and Transition programs participated in the Abraxas Garden project. The Abraxas Garden continues to donate most of their produce to needy families in our community. The Abraxas Garden produce is available to the public at a monthly fundraiser farmers market in the patio next to Elements Cafe in the district office on the first Wednesday of each month. Well, I guess it's not Elephant Bar. The Transition Program prom was held on Sunday, March 2nd at the Poway Community Center. Our theme this year was the Wild Wild West. The transition students participated in Special Olympics at Poway High School on March 29th. As always, the students have a great time participating in these events. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kyle. Next, we have from Del Norte High School, Alexis Long.
Good evening, board members and audience. My name is Alexis Long, and I'm so lucky to be able to take Delaney's place as ASB president this next trimester and next year. I'm so excited to see what this next year has in store for us and can't wait to share what we accomplished throughout the year. And I would like to brush over the steps Del Norte has taken to continually strive towards being college-ready, future-focused, and globally aware. College-ready. As we move towards our last trimester of the school year, students are preparing for the upcoming AP exams in about a month, with around 2,300 total exams being given out. Del Norte's juniors are currently taking the CASP test, as seniors are taking the CAST test, and both groups are trying their best. UC admissions recently came out, so many seniors are being committed to colleges. We're so excited to see where they head in the future. In addition, our school is hosting a community college and military information night after spring break to bring attention to the variety of pathways our students can take. Future focused. Del Norte's student body continues to aim for new and shifting mindsets that leads us toward becoming better leaders when we enter the world after high school. This new trimester brought ASB a new class of leaders, all with different outlooks and perspectives, and their ideas are strong desires to reach the students in an impactful way, teaching and including them through experience. Right now, ASB is planning a school-wide food drive, hoping to aid those in need with student donations. Our school's Best Buddies Club recently hosted an End the R Word Day to bring awareness to the stigmas placed on those with disabilities. Best Buddies also participated in a Best Buddies Ball, where students with disabilities had the opportunity to dress up and go to a dance with other schools. Globally aware. This week, our Gay Straight Alliance Club and ASB are working together to raise awareness for the LGBTQ+ community. By hosting an LGBTQ Awareness Week, they aim to show the community they are safe and supported at Del Norte High School. Our school continues to lead What I Wish My Parents Knew seminars on campus to pull perspectives of raising teens through the eyes of parents. This brings the community of parents, students, and the school together. We recently welcomed a group of Japanese exchange students into our school as they came to visit and experience America for a couple of weeks. Not only did the exchange students learn something new, but the students at Del Norte gained experience of understanding others from a different country. Our performing arts and music programs are shining under the spotlight this trimester. Del Norte's music program conducted a music exchange with students from Utah, and tonight, theater presents its annual One Acts Festival run by students. ASB will be putting on a prom fashion show to get student engagement, and we're also excited to be planning Staff Appreciation Week in the future. On another note, our senior class presidents are planning their first ever girls flag football game between junior and senior girls. We are excited to see a lot of participation with this event. As I conclude, I would like to thank the audience and board members for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. I look forward to updating you in the future about our Nighthawks. It's great to be distinctively Del Norte. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexis. And last, from Mount Carmel High School, we have Tyler Vandenberg.
Good evening, board members. My name is Tyler Vandenberg, and I'm very excited to update you all on what our amazing Sun Devils have been up to recently. Our recent spring play, The Wizard of Oz, was a huge Sun Devil success. The theater was well filled with one of the fullest houses in a very long time. We were super excited to hear that the La Jolla Playhouse is buying over 3 of our set pieces to make them rentals for other companies to use. There were some very special guests from Morningside and Creekside Elementary a part of the play as well. Kids from K through 5th grade played the Munchkins, and this production would not have been complete without them. In other exciting news, our amazing color guard recently had their final competition for their winter season, where they took home 3rd place at the West Coast Guard Championships. 2 weeks ago was our prom reveal rally, where we had our drumline and dance troupe show our students some Sun Devil spirit before we revealed this year's prom location and theme. We also had some seniors strut their stuff by modeling dresses and tuxedos from Men's Warehouse. This year's prom theme is a night in Neverland and will be held at the San Diego Central Library on the 9th floor, giving an amazing view of all of downtown on May 11th. At the end of the rally, we had our principal, Mr. Magno, select 2 Sun Devils from a drawing to win a free prom ticket. Unfortunately, I did not win, but the 2 lucky Sun Devils were very thrilled. We are also very proud of being one of only 2 high schools in San Diego County to be presented with the California Distinguished School Award for our school culture that resulted in increased college and career opportunities for Sun Devils. In some future events, we are holding Staff Recognition Week from April 29th to May 3rd, where ASB will create teacher appreciation doors and also other staff appreciation gifts. The staff of Mount Carmel works so hard in creating the best Sun Devil experience for every student that walks onto our campus. For all their dedication and hard work, us ASBers at MC feels this is the least we can do. I am also very pleased to announce that I will be representing Mount Carmel High School at the National Student Council Conference and will be hosted by South Fayette High School located in McDonald, Pennsylvania. I can't wait to attend this summer along with 19 fellow other Californians. Thank you so much for your time today, and remember, it's great to be a Sun Devil.
Thank you, Tyler. That brings us to agenda item 4.2, public comment. Oh, yes, if you guys want to leave, feel free to leave. Enjoy your spring break. And that brings us to public comment. Ms. Couvret?
Ms. Shirley Black?
Thank you very much. My name is Shirley Black. I live at 12747 Via Sombras in Poway. Is that all you want to know? Okay, I'm here to talk about National Library Week. You know, as we celebrate National Library Week, which is, by the way, 61 years old this year. However, don't confuse it with the first library. I want to tell you about the Rancho Bernardo Friends of the Library. We're approximately 17 years old, and I know if you've been here before, you've heard me beg before, but I'm not begging tonight. So that's a plus. Richard Mason and Shirley Black, along with Ben von Wiesenhausen, who used to be the librarian at Rancho Bernardo High School, started this organization approximately 17 years ago. And Dick Mason was he really wanted this organization more than anything because he loved books and he loved languages. However, but because of the budget cuts, when we took, when the district, or not when the district, when the state rather, cut our budget, and I'm sure you remember that, we couldn't disband, we had to continue. And we did so because we felt the library needed us more than anything. Since that day, we have raised approximately $300,000. We participate in Giving Tuesday. We gift wrap at Barnes & Noble, and we made over $4,500 last year. We have our book sales, and we have something that's really close to my heart is RB Alive. And I insist that our organization participate in that because it gets us out into the community rather than the community coming to us. Something else I would like to talk about is we don't have any of our books priced. We just ask for donations, and believe me, we've done quite well with that. We've had a terrible year this year because we've had 2 presidents that have been diagnosed with cancer. However, we refuse to disband, and we continuously ask for volunteers, and we're getting them slowly. I just want you to know that National Library Week is very important to us. It's important to me because I've been associated with the book since I was 3 years old. So you know it means a lot to me, and I'm sure it means a lot to our students. And no matter what anybody says, I came and made a speech to you several years ago, and the last thing I said to you was, you can ask Google for an answer, and they will give you 1,000 answers. You can ask a librarian for an answer, and you'll get the correct answer. Thank you.
Are there any other further comments? No? All right. Brings us to agenda item 4.3, which is an information item from Ron Little.
Thank you, President Patel. As you know, staff is very excited to begin our facility master planning work, partnering with PBK district-wide. It's actually begun. And this evening we have 2 representatives from PBK. We have a partner, Marco Eckert, and Gilbert Baez, a principal in charge, to present to the board and the public a little bit about where we're going in the process and how we're going to get there. So gentlemen, please come forward, and we look forward to your presentation.
Thank you very much, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Phelps, members of the Cabinet, as well as members of the community. We're very excited this evening to make this presentation, to discuss about the future of the master plan, the process we'll go through, and the incredible things that result as that process is through. So what we have here is just a quick agenda about what it is we're going to talk about, the idea of the team we're putting forth, the need for a facilities master plan, what a master plan is, the process that we'll go through that will bring the staff through, and the idea that it's a living, breathing document. It's not a one and done, but it's a continual process where we're updating constantly. and then we'll close with questions. So the team that we put forth is myself as a partner. I've done quite a few of these master plans and very excited to be part of this team here. We have Gilbert Baez as our principal in charge, who's heading up the entire process. Alexandra Parslow, she couldn't be here this evening, but she's a partner with PBK. She's our community outreach liaison. She's also very connected at the state level in terms of funding and various funding sources. And Doug Patterson is one of our boots on the ground senior project managers. So the question is why we need a facilities master plan. And it's the idea of connecting all these things together, the educational program, the resource planning, and the equity. All of those things work in conjunction to support the student. The student is at the heart of this master plan, which makes it very exciting and very important. And what we do is we take a look at what master plans were in the past. In the past decades, it was really about facilities, and that was it, right? We look at the condition of your facilities. You need new carpet here. You need new lighting here. That paint on the wall needs to be replaced. And that was pretty much the heart and soul of a master plan. But today is very, very different. The way we look at it today is the facilities becomes the foundation, but really it steps up to the very top. The most important component of this master plan is really the student. The facilities really need to support the delivery of curriculum, and we're very excited about that. What we have here is a circle on the left, and it just shows various components of a master plan. Deals with the architectural components, the technology, safety and security is a huge concern these days, sustainability, life cycle costs, funding and financing, furniture. So it's not just one little piece. There's a multitude of components that all work together to create this facilities master plan.
In a nutshell, what a master plan is it's really a roadmap. You are here today. In 5 to 10 years, you want to be here, identifying how we want to get there, and basically providing those steps to get there. A few of the items that are identified in the master plan is the needs surrounding the district educational goals, facilities supporting curricula. Again, like Marco mentioned, curriculum drives construction. Infrastructure needs at each site. You guys already done some facility needs assessments. Those will be incorporated into the master plan. Rough order of magnitude costs, identifying costs to all those as basically and projecting out costs to all these potential projects that could happen down the line, prioritizing the projects, and then the basis for those prioritizations. And then lastly, identifying some funding opportunities that the district can take advantage of. What you see here is our process, basically from beginning to end. It's not necessarily chronological in the sense, but it's more of a big picture, high level. On the left side, the round circles, that's kind of where we're at now. We're still in the very beginning stages. We've met with several groups. We're about to meet with a lot more. This is just our introductory meeting with you guys, presentation. Later, the way it's structured there, the blue boxes at the top moving down, the first one is the district leadership team, meeting with them, meeting with the community facilities committee, and then presenting to the board. And that is repeated over and over again until we get to board adoption in January of 2020. The green that's identified there, that's really what we're right now about to start, which is meeting with all the principals, meeting with some focus groups, starting the ed specs process, the educational specification process. We're about to set up a lot of meetings basically to get all that going with all the schools. These are just a few of the sheets of one example of a different school, different district, which is just a few pages of that report. You got a cover sheet, a site plan showing what's existing on the facilities and potentially what projects could come down the road, and then also including some of the costs identified with some of those projects. Again, that's just very few pages of the actual report of one of the schools, just to give you an idea of what it'll look like in the end. With that, is there any questions?
Thank you very much for your presentation. Yeah. Go ahead, Ms. Bailey.
Thank you for your presentation. So you said, what does the finished product look like at the end in January 2020 that comes before the board for adoption? What exactly is that comprised of?
It's it could be a printed, it could be digital, however, but it's an actual report in breaking down each individual site. It looks at a lot of different things, demographics, the funding, the needs at each school, looking at again, that roadmap, what we need to get where we want to be. Looking at the educational specifications, identifying those, Again, it could be a printed report, it could be digital, it could be something that could be placed on a website. That's the report that you guys will see at the end.
It's a fairly robust report about the size of a phone book. If the members of the audience recall what a phone book is, my daughter doesn't know what a phone book is, but it really takes a look at each and every campus, what the facilities look like now, what it's going to take to bring them up to a certain level, as well as what it's going to take to bring them up to that level to support the curriculum as we move forward. So it's kind of a roadmap to improve those facilities over the next decade.
So is the adoption virtually the board's agreement, or is it a commitment, or a resolution? Or
That's a great question. It's acknowledging that there's a need for these improvements for facilities, but it's not necessarily tied to any funding components. It's just saying, hey, we've got a need to bring these facilities up to a certain level, and the research has been done, and it's going to cost this much. But it's really disassociated from any funding sources in particular.
It's in essence accepting the report, accepting the findings in the report, and that the board acknowledges the findings that were found.
Is it functionally a merger, if you will, of the facility needs assessment that's just recently been completed, as well as the security assessment?
Absolutely. It builds on top of both of those documents. They all work together in conjunction and support.
It's more comprehensive. It's more. You'll get even more than that information.
It combines them all into
Correct.
recommendations.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So I'm interested, maybe this is a question for Dr. Phelps, the report out to the board that's going to happen over and over and over again. I'm interested in what that looks like, because I know we have our board president on the district leadership team and two other members of the board on that community facilities committee, but that leaves 2 members of the board who are not on those committees and will only hear the report out. So what does that look like, and how can the 2 who are not on a committee make sure our input counts?
Right.
And gets included? What does that look like? How does that
So
feel?
if it requires anything that the board would like further input, because we have members on both committees, they would probably come back to the board president and just request that they want something agendized so that you can talk about it in open session. The other thing is that the meetings that come forward to the board is that the board members that aren't part of the committee work will also get the same update as the regular general community and community at large. So they'll get updates as to progress as far as where we are, and outreach to gather further input.
Okay.
And if I could add, at each of those board meetings, it'll be like a check-in session. So we'll show you the progress of the work that we've sort of comprised of based on what we gather from the sites and the support sites and the staff and the teams. And that'll be the opportunity for the entire board to give feedback and provide direction. Say, that looks like where we should be headed, or have you thought about this, and ask questions and sort of guide us.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Are there any further questions? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're on consent calendar, agenda item 5.0. Items listed under consent agenda are considered routine and will be approved, adopted by a single motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. However, any item may be removed from the consent calendar upon the request of any member of the board, discussed and acted upon separately. The superintendent and staff recommend approval of all consent calendar items. Are there any items to pull, starting at the end? Mr. Schwartz, do you have any items to pull?
No.
Mr. Zane?
No.
Ms. Beatty?
No, thank you.
Mr. Red? No. Mrs. Connor Ratcliffe? No. And none for me. Thank you.
Motion to approve?
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. On a motion by Ms. O'Connor Ratcliffe, second by Mr. Zane, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Now, that brings us to item 6.0, Personnel Support Services. Item 6.1, Mr. Jimenez.
Thank you, President Patel. This resolution proposes the elimination of one instructional assistant in PE. The incumbent employee will be placed into a vacant position, which will have the equivalent number of hours or more as they have in their current position. The resolution also proposes the reduction of an office specialist position due to the program and operational needs of that particular department. The office specialist position is vacant at the moment, so there is no impact to the incumbent employee. The resolution also proposes the reduction in time for a program aide position in the Extended Student Services Department. This position is also currently vacant, so there is no impact on an incumbent employee. The resolution also proposes the reduction of time for 7 Food and Nutrition Assistant 2 positions, as well as an Instructional Assistant 1 in Special Education due to a reduction of work. Each incumbent employee in the Food Nutrition and Instructional Assistant Special Ed positions will be placed into a vacant position, which will have the equivalent number of hours or more than they have in their current position. Finally, the resolution proposed a reduction in hours of 1 computer resources technician due to a lack of funds, which is listed as the second position on Exhibit A. Due to the impact of possible bumping of the assignment and the employees which is based on seniority, PSEA, our Poway School Employees Association Leadership and Personnel Support Services, will need additional time to discuss the impact to those particular employees. Therefore, it's recommended that the resolution be approved to not include the second position listed on Exhibit A, which is titled Computer Resources Assistant, in order to allow us to finalize a determination of those impacted employees in that particular classification. Therefore, the board is asked to approve the resolution with the exclusion of position number 2, Computer Resources Technician.
All right, thank you. So we are approving the Exhibit A, this resolution, without position number 2, without the computer resource assistant.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second? Motion by Mr. Zane, second by Ms. Couvret. Are there any questions?
Yes. As you know, Mr. Jimenez, we've been talking about special education instructional assistants for quite a while, even before you were here. And we've had a concern with a 3-hour position turning into actually quite a bit more when they timesheet additional hours over and over and over again. By eliminating 1 hour per day on this IA position, I want some assurances that we know that they're not going to be timesheeting those extra hours.
Yes, thank you. Absolutely. So we will follow up with the school site to ensure that the recommendation for the reduction was based on the program need and student needs, so that it is recommended to be an appropriate level of service that's needed for that position at that particular school site, so that we don't run into any situations of any timesheeting.
I would ask that we definitely follow up with these sites, and if their people are timesheeting excessively, we need to move it back to what it was or whatever they actually need. I'm wary every time we move one of these back down. So thank you for your assurances there.
Absolutely, we will follow up.
If there are no further discussion or questions, we have a motion by Mr. Zane, a second by Ms. Couvret. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item 6.2, approval of declaration of need for fully qualified educators. Mr. Jimenez.
Thank you. From time to time, it is necessary for Poway Unified School District, as well as other districts, to submit a request to the Commission on Teacher Credentialing in the form of a declaration of need. As a prerequisite, if there is a need in the following school year to issue an emergency permit for a teacher who does not hold all of the required authorizations in an assignment. The reasons for an emergency permit vary, may include the need for an existing staff person with preliminary credentials who are completing coursework, or special education teacher needs, or out-of-state teachers who may need to complete coursework towards an English language learner authorization or a bilingual authorization as examples. The district ensures that we will conduct each recruitment to search for a fully prepared teacher. However, the declaration of need is a projection and an estimate for the upcoming school year in 2019-2020 based on our staffing needs from this past school year. The Board of Trustees is asked to approve the declaration of need for fully qualified educators.
Thank you. If there are no questions,
motion to approve.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
A motion by Ms. O'Connor-Ratcliffe and a second by Mr. Zane. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Brings us to agenda item 6.3, which is approval of the employment agreement between Poway Unified School District and the Associate Superintendent of Personnel Support Services. In accordance with the Brown Act in Government Code Section 54953C3, the board is to orally report a summary of the salaries and compensation paid in the form of fringe benefits to a school district associate superintendent in this open meeting. The recommendation is for final action upon an approval of an employment contract with James Jimenez to serve as Associate Superintendent of Personnel Support Services. A copy of the contract is available upon request. The proposed contract is for Mr. Jimenez to serve as Associate Superintendent from July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2022. This includes salary from July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2020 of $200,000 per year based on a placement at step 6 of a salary schedule attached to the contract as Exhibit A. The contract and salary schedule provide for salary increases in subsequent years contingent on an annual evaluation which indicates overall satisfactory or better performance. Under the contract, the Associate Superintendent is entitled to receive district-paid health and welfare benefits on the same terms as other management employees, 2.5% longevity increases after the conclusion of 10, 15, 20, and 25 years of district, a doctoral stipend on the same terms as other management employees, 12 days of annual sick leave in compliance with state law, and 26 days of vacation annually, which may accumulate up to 52 days. The Associate Superintendent is also to be reimbursed for all actual and necessary expenses related to the performance of duties. Do we have any questions on this item, or can I hear a motion for approval?
Motion to approve.
Second.
And a motion by Mr. Zane, a second by Ms. O'Connor-Ratcliffe. All those in favor?
We want to do a discussion?
Discussion? Sure. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I think, in fact, it's important the board have a discussion on these. So we have 5 contracts, and I think my comments really pertain to all of them across the board. So each contract has a salary schedule, and the superintendent created this salary schedule, and every year a new step is added. So unlike the schedules that we have for our other employees that are codified in board policy and are finite in duration, this schedule, because it keeps having new steps added, has the effect of endless raises for our top executives, which is clearly unsustainable, especially given our deficits. So I think the question that I would like resolved by the board is, how do we want to structure our top executive pay? Do we want to create a salary schedule? If so, do we want to bind ourselves to a schedule of raises that extend beyond the duration of the term of the contract? That would be a question. And alternatively, do we want to consider a finite amount, a finite salary amount, or at least a series of raises built into the contract that then, end when the contract ends? But at the very least, we have to have a discussion about whether we want to keep adding steps every year and giving guaranteed raises every single year to top employees when they're not guaranteed to our other employees. So those are, for starters, I think, questions that the board as a body should answer and come together and resolve.
I would note that these are not endless raises. We're only talking up to step 9, not step a million. We did add a few steps to this. How many steps do our teachers and our classified employees have? Does anyone know offhand? 27? 27. This is 9. That's not endless at this point. We did add some, but that's not endless. There are 9.
Only one was
do we
added.
want to calculate out then what it would look like, what the pay would look like if we went out to step 27 for these employees? Is that what you're proposing, that it's okay as long as it stays under step 27?
No, I'm saying that this before us is step 9. We're not talking about anything past step 9. That may never happen.
Well,
we don't
not-
have that
not-
before us.
Not until next year, right? 2 years ago, the salary structure that was presented before the board and approved went to step 7. And then the following year it went to step 8, and then the following year it went to step 9. So given that pattern, the board needs to have a discussion as to how we want to do this. Do we want to have a set structured salary schedule that is typical for municipalities, to have a salary schedule that is publicized, that the public gets to see, or do we want to have one that we just make up as we go along and
I guess
add
this
to every
is-
year?
This is a salary schedule that the public gets to see. That's the whole point of this today, right? These are public salary schedules. All of our associate superintendents know what they are.
Until it's changed next year, and that's not how normal municipality salary structures work. If you want to look at our teachers' salary structure, the members of the public can go to the board policy and see the salary structure that goes, the step increases that go from year 1 to or step 1 to step 20. And the same goes for our classified staff. We have something that's codified in board policy that is a finite salary structure. That's not what we're being presented with here. First of all, it's not codified in board policy. Second of all, it's been shown not to be finite. So it has the potential to be infinite. So the board, as a body, needs to figure out. I just don't think this is that amusing. I think this is serious.
It's not codified as part of board policy because we're contracted employees. And therefore, any contract can be limited and or set year to year by the Board of Education. So the salary schedule is only created and only approved by the board. It's not created by the superintendent. I can only provide recommendations. It's ultimately up to the board to approve or not approve it. The board has all full authority to say that they only want a salary schedule to stop at step 5. It's only created and recommended by the superintendent and staff, and then it's really up to the board to decide whether you approve it or not. So that's where that comes. As far as the steps, there was only one added, and I want to clarify, these are not raises. These are COLA steps, as all employees in the district receive a COLA step every year, except for the difference is cabinet can only get their raise by an effective evaluation, unlike any other employee in the district. And all other employees in the district get to move their following step, regardless of what their evaluation states. Also want to respectfully note that when raises were given to all of the entire staff, classified and certificated, the 3.5% as well as the one-time payment, the only people who did not get a raise was cabinet and the superintendent.
And the board.
Just to be clear, for the benefit of the public, since they are ultimately the ones who pay these salaries, we're talking about salaries that extend up to $218,000. I mean, these are very high public service, civil servant salaries that we're talking about. And as far as COLAs, we don't know in 3 years what that cost of living factor is going to be. But right now, so not only are we projecting that, but we're also binding ourselves to granting raises that extend beyond the term of the contract.
No, it's merely a salary schedule, and the contract is what's binding. So the contract dictates the amount of dates. So if you look at each of the appendix, you can see that they only get to a certain step by the extent of their contract. So if the contract ends on 2022 and they happen to start on step 1 in 2017, they're only going to get to step whatever 4 or 5. They won't get to step 9 if their contract is not extended.
And if the contracts legally aren't extended, the contract terminates and then a new contract begins. Does this bind the board then when it negotiates a new contract?
No.
So the board could say, even though we have the salary schedule, we're scrapping it and we're not giving raises this year.
The board always has the right to terminate a contract given a certain amount of notice to the employees, and the associate superintendents and superintendent are only to be given, what was the notice? 45
days prior to the expiration
So you only have
of
to
a
give
contract.
45-day notice with no cause, and you would be then only binding to pay out the remaining of that salary for that year for the employee.
Okay, so I guess the question remains, I mean, the board didn't create this structure. The board adopted the structure as you referenced. So the question remains, does the board want to have our top executives on a salaried structure? And if so, what are the parameters? Does it end at step 9, or next year when we come and renew these contracts for another year, are we creating a step 10? I think we should know where we're going, where our roadmap is here, because as I said, we don't grant, especially at a time of structural deficits, we're not granting automatic raises to all of our other employees. We're looking for multi-million-dollar cuts, so especially as our structural deficit grows in the outlying years.
I think an important point is these aren't raises, right? And they are subject to a positive evaluation. I think
I'm sorry, they're not raises?
No, it's essentially a step like all other employees in the district have a step.
If you're going to freeze a step for an associate soup, then essentially you're saying due to the financial deficit, then respectfully then are you going to freeze all salary step increases for all employees? That's the same way of thinking of this. It's no different than making a statement that you're going to freeze all employees at their current step and not allow them to move forward due to a deficit.
Respectfully, it's you either have step increases or you have a negotiated employment contract for your top executives. That the salary steps are for employees that don't have contracts. That's a contract that the district has with the entire body of that union membership in order to create a uniform salary structure. You normally don't. You have an either or. You have an employment contract, or you have a salary schedule to create parity and equity among your employees. You don't normally have both. In fact, in the past, when we've had our associate superintendents and superintendent on contract, it wasn't an ever-escalating amount that they got. There was a negotiated, there was an arm's length transaction, there was a negotiated salary amount, and that was it for the duration of the contract, whether it was 3 or 4 years.
The majority,
Try
if
to
not
blend the
all,
two is not.
I don't know of any public school district that does not have a salary schedule published for their cabinet level employees. There are steps for almost every single district that I'm aware of. However, it is always the board's purview to not have that, but then you also have to look at whether or not you are striving to have some stability or desire to keep the employees in these top level positions.
I think that I think that it's the right way to go to have the steps. And I think that as a board, if we at some point renegotiate these or talk about renewing these contracts, at that point, we're not talking about whether we have to go to step 10 or step 11 just because we have a step 9 this time. What we should then be focusing on is what is the market for top-level executives who are doing the kind of exemplary job that ours are. We just got our exemplary district in the whole county, and we just got that award at the state level. And it was amazing. We had almost everyone up here at that award ceremony. It was fantastic, and that's due to the hard work of our superintendent and all of our associate superintendents. I think that to keep them, we need to continue, even if we don't talk about it as a step, although I think the steps are the way to go. We need to always make sure that we're at the level that is market rate for the services they're providing to us. And at this point, they are exemplary.
Yes, I view each one of these contracts as individual contracts, and whether you want to call it a step or call it something else, each contract has an up to a maximum amount by effective July 1, 2022, subject to change at any time with 45 days notice. I highly doubt, I'd be super surprised if any of the individuals that we're considering this evening for a contract here, stays with the district an additional 19 years beyond July 1, 2022 to get to step 27. If that happens, that's perhaps a problem we want to have, and we'll discuss that later when the time comes. But I'm comfortable with the contracts as written, if to the extent we're speaking holistically here. Except I will note one grammatical thing I noticed on all of them, page 2 of all the contracts, 3F, the last portion should be changed to reflect the specific position. So in the case of Mr. Jimenez's contract, that should read, fulfill the obligations of the Associate Superintendent of Personnel Support Services as opposed to Business Support Services. You'll notice that change needs to be made on all the contracts.
Nice catch.
So I think that my colleague brought up an excellent point, that we should be looking at comparables, instead of these sort of, guaranteed raises, or if, the board president wants to refer to them as MOUs. Let's do that due diligence. With regard to guaranteed COLAs, one of the associate's contracts doesn't have that built in, and that's the associate superintendent of business. So how do you reconcile that based on your claim that we need to keep implementing cost of living increases, and we can't call it, this isn't really raises, it's cost of living increases. Again, there's a...
And that's exactly to our earlier point, that right now our steps only stop at 7, and that's all we're asking that the board approve. And even though his contract beyond that, that means that his contract caps at that. So to your point that you tried to make earlier, it doesn't keep on going because their contract extends beyond that. As far as comparable salaries, I know of a district not too far from here that's a third of our size, that the new associate soups that they just hired, starting salary is at $250.
I'm sorry, at $250? Is that which associate soup? Which position? No, I mean what title? Business, personnel, learning? So
I'll get you that information.
So that looks like there's an attempt to have all the contracts sort of catch up to the contract of the Associate Superintendent of Business. And I think that's another important issue that the board needs to weigh. Do we want all of our associates, do we think that they should all be on the same pay scale? And everyone catching up to the CBO, or should the CBO, is that position worth more? I mean, this is something we also need to decide.
I believe that position that I saw was for technology and innovation. But what you recommend is also somewhat of a slippery slope, because respectfully, they all do a lot of work within their individual departments. Their work is different in nature, and I don't know of any districts that pay their CBO different than they do the other employees of the same title.
Oh, I would say most districts that I'm aware of pay their CBOs on a higher structure. In fact, many have created a deputy, or a strong associate soup position for that reason.
Is there any further discussion to add at this time?
I would like to solicit input as far as if how the board feels about having all of the associates on the same structure.
Again, I'll just reiterate what I said before. I view each individual contract as just that, an individual contract. I think that the salary schedule laid out for each one of them is appropriate. They're all on slightly different, maybe there's a couple here that are on the same current step, again, to use the term. But I think that this suits purposes for now, but I'm not adverse to the longer term discussion and planning of looking at a different sort of a structure, if that's the board's desire at some point.
I do think to some degree, when we discussed this initially a year or 2 years ago, 1 year ago, we did put our associate soup of business support services on a higher step to begin. And I think that takes care of what you're talking about to some degree, Ms. Beatty. Also, I would note that the steps are, and I recall this from last time we talked about this as well, the steps are just under 3%. And we had, or maybe they're closer to 2.5%. I'd have to look again. But when we talked about it previously, a lot of the steps that our other employees and in other districts, as we were comparing their salary schedules, were closer to 5% often, depending on the step. And ours are actually smaller steps. Because it's a higher number, it looks big, but the percentage-wise, it's not. It's actually a smaller step than what other districts and even other job titles are getting in our own district. At this point, it makes sense to me the way it is.
So if we agree to use a salary structure, which I do think ought to be approved of and codified in board policy, do we want to additionally then keep the longevity increases? Because that's like an additional salary increase that's on top of these annual raises.
I think longevity is an interesting point, but since none of Mr. Jimenez's contract specifically doesn't fall in, he's not been here long enough to get longevity, nor will he be during the term of this contract. I think that's for a future discussion at this point. But I think it's a valid point, and I think we need to keep that in the discussion.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve? Oh, sorry, we had a motion in a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. 5-0. Motion carries 5-0. Sorry. Brings us to item 6.4. This is approval of the employment agreement between the Poway Unified School District and the Associate Superintendent of Business Support Services. In accordance with the Brown Act, in Government Code Section 54953C3, the board is to orally report a summary of the salaries and compensation paid in the form of fringe benefits to a school district associate superintendent in this open meeting. The recommendation is for final action upon and approval of an employment contract with Ron Little II to serve as Associate Superintendent of Business Support Services. A copy of the contract is available upon request. The proposed contract is for Mr. Little to serve as Associate Superintendent from July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2022. This includes a salary from July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2020 of $212,180 per year based on a placement at Step 8 of a salary schedule attached to the contract as Exhibit A. The contract and salary schedule provide for a salary increase in 2020 through 2021 contingent on an annual evaluation which indicates overall satisfactory or better performance. Under the contract, the Associate Superintendent is entitled to receive district-paid health and welfare benefits on the same terms as other management employees, 2.5% longevity increases after the conclusion of 10, 15, 20, and 25 years of district. A doctoral stipend on the same terms as other management employees, 12 days of annual sick leave in compliance with state law, and 26 days of vacation annually, which may accumulate up to 52 days. The Associate Superintendent is also to be reimbursed for all actual and necessary expenses related to the performance of duties. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
On a motion by Ms. O'Connor-Ratcliffe and a second by Mr. Zane. If there are no further discussions at this time, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item 6.5, approval of the employment agreement between Poway Unified School District and the Associate Superintendent of Learning Support Services. In accordance with the Brown Act in Government Code Section 54953C3, The board is to orally report a summary of the salaries and compensation paid in the form of fringe benefits to a school district associate superintendent in this open meeting. The recommendation is for final action upon and approval of an employment contract with Carol Osborne to serve as Associate Superintendent of Learning Support Services. A copy of the contract is available upon request. The proposed contract is for Ms. Osborne to serve as Associate Superintendent from July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2022. This includes salary from July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2020 of $183,030 per year based on placement at Step 3 of a salary schedule attached to the contract as Exhibit A. The contract and salary schedule provide for salary increases in subsequent years contingent on an annual evaluation which indicates overall satisfactory or better performance. Under the contract, the Associate Superintendent is entitled to receive district-paid health and welfare benefits on the same terms as other management employees, 2.5% longevity increases after the conclusion of 10, 15, 20, and 25 years of district. A doctoral stipend on the same terms as other management employees, 12 days of annual sick leave in compliance with state law, and 26 days of vacation annually, which may accumulate up to 52 days. The Associate Superintendent is also to be reimbursed for all actual and necessary expenses related to the performance of duties. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
With the
change on 3F? I'll second that.
Okay.
Oh, great. Second.
On a motion by Mr. Zane, second by Ms. O'Connor Ratcliffe. Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item 6.6, approval of the employment agreement between Poway Unified School District and the Associate Superintendent of Technology and Innovation. In accordance with the Brown Act and Government Code Section 54953C3, the board is to orally report a summary of the salaries and compensation paid in the form of fringe benefits to a school district associate superintendent in this open meeting. The recommendation is for final action upon and approval of an employment contract with Dr. Jennifer Burks to serve as Associate Superintendent of Technology and Innovation. A copy of the contract is available upon request. The proposed contract is for Dr. Burks to serve as Associate Superintendent from July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2022. This includes salary from July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2020 of $183,030 per year, based on placement at Step 3 of a salary schedule attached to the contract as Exhibit A. The contract and salary schedule provide for salary increases in subsequent years contingent upon an annual evaluation which indicates overall satisfactory or better performance. Under the contract, the Associate Superintendent is entitled to receive district-paid health and welfare benefits on the same terms as other management employees, 2.5% longevity increases after the conclusion of 10, 15, 20, and 25 years of district. A doctoral... Yes, that's what keeps messing me up. A doctoral stipend on the same terms as other management employees, 12 days of annual sick leave in compliance with state law, and 26 days of vacation annually, which may accumulate up to 52 days. The Associate Superintendent is also to be reimbursed for all actual and necessary expenses related to the performance of duties. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
On a motion by Mr. Zane, second by Ms. O'Connor Ratcliffe. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Agenda item 6.7. Approval of the employment agreement between Poway Unified School District and the Associate Superintendent of Student Support Services. In accordance with the Brown Act and Government Code Section 54953C3, the board is to orally report a summary of the salaries and compensation paid in the form of fringe benefits to School District Associate Superintendent in this open meeting. The recommendation is for final action upon and approval of an employment contract with Greg Mizell to serve as Associate Superintendent of Student Support Services. The contract changes in the position from an Assistant Superintendent to Associate Superintendent. A copy of that contract is available upon request. The proposed contract is for Mr. Mizell to serve as Associate Superintendent from July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2022. This includes salary from July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2020 of $172,524 per year, based on a placement at Step 1 of a salary schedule attached to the contract as Exhibit A. The contract and salary schedule provide for salary increases in subsequent years contingent on an annual evaluation which indicates overall satisfactory or better performance. Under the contract, the associate superintendent is entitled to receive district-paid health and welfare benefits on the same terms as other management employees. 2.5% longevity increases after the conclusion of 10, 15, 20, 25 years of district service, a doctoral stipend on the same terms as other management employees, 12 days of annual sick leave in compliance with state law, and 26 days of vacation annually, which may accumulate up to 52 days. The associate superintendent is also to be reimbursed for all actual and necessary expenses related to the performance of duties. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
A motion by Ms. O'Connor-Ratcliffe and a second by Mr. Zane. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. That brings us to agenda item 7.0, which is business support services. First item, 7.1, which is a public hearing and approval of resolution of number 51-2019 entitled Authorizing a Use of Grant Request for Oak Valley Middle School Addition. So at this time, I'd like to convene the public hearing at 7:08. Do we have any public comments on this agenda item? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing at 7:08 and reconvene the board meeting. Mr. Little.
Yes, thank you, President Patel. This item is related to this evening's consent item, agenda number 5.3G, which granted approval to staff to submit applications to the OPSC State Allocation Board for 2 district projects, the Oak Valley Middle School Classroom Expansion Project, as well as the Mesa Verde Middle School Modernization Project. In order to get us in line for the school facility program funding, the queue for the next round of state funding when it comes around. Pursuant to California Code of Regulations 1859.773B, we seek the board's approval to utilize 216 of the district's new construction student grants from a grade level other than grades 7 and 8 to apply towards the Oak Valley Middle School Classroom Addition Project application in order to achieve or be eligible for full funding by the state's SFP program. And by full funding, of course, that means 50% funded from the state side of it. The district currently has no grade 7 and 8 new construction grants. You may recall that the balance of those grants were used when we applied for the D39 reimbursement in 2018. New construction grants are established annually based on enrollment and new development, and there are no guarantees on how many grants we will have at any given project time. So by approving the resolution, you'll allow staff to use those 216 K through 6 level new construction student grants and get our Oak Valley Middle School expansion project in the queue.
Thank you, Mr. Little. Are there any questions on this item?
Just briefly, I just want to thank you for drawing the connection to 5.3G. I was going to ask about that. You saved me. So in doing this, though, we're still acknowledging all of these things that we might not get any money at all, the state's not obligated, blah, 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 all those things that we agreed to in that other one. Okay, thank you. We hope. We're keeping our fingers crossed, and this is how we know we might get it. Okay, got it. Motion to approve.
Second.
On a motion by Ms. O'Connor-Ratcliffe, a second by Mr. Zane. Is there any further discussion? Mr. Schwartz, your preferential vote?
Aye.
Rest of the board, all those in favor? Aye. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 7.2, I'm going to convene a public hearing for approval of cell tower license agreement with T-Mobile West, LLC at Del Norte High School. Convening the public hearing at 7:11. Are there any public comments? No public comments. I'm closing this public hearing at 7:12. Mr. Little.
Yes, thank you, President Patel. At the January 17, 2019 board meeting, staff shared that T-Mobile West was interested in constructing a cell tower site at Del Norte High School. This evening, we bring forward for approval the licensing agreement between the district and the carrier to place 3 cell antennas on a DNHS stadium light pole and to construct a small service equipment building on the premises. Project plans have been submitted and approved by the Department of State Architects. Staff has worked with the Del Norte High School team to determine the footprint and the location of the support building and to address any other concerns. Access to the building would be from a dedicated sidewalk so that it would not involve any traversing onto the campus to access the service building. The construction schedule will be obviously developed in coordination with the site and the principal, but we anticipate it taking place over the summer. Annual revenues are $33,600 per annum for the first 5 years, and then we have 15% COLAs built in for every 5-year period. In addition, we have one-time fees. We have a $40,000 origination fee, reimbursement for pre-existing site improvement work in the amount of $46,685, and $4,000 for use permit fee reimbursements. That totals $90,685. So that's the first year one-time funds, as well as $168,000 over the next 5 years of revenues with the board's approval.
Thank you, Mr. Little. Are there any questions? Can I hear a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
On a motion by Ms. Couvret and a second by Mr. Zane, hearing no further discussion, I'd like to get Mr. Schwartz's preferential vote.
Aye.
Rest of the board, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item 7.3, approval of resolution number 47-2019 entitled Authorize the Other Post-Employment Benefit, OPEB, Irrevocable Trust Recommendations Related to Investment, Asset Allocation Strategy, and Initial Balance Transfer. Mr. Little.
Yes, thank you, President Patel. This evening, staff brings forward a recommendation for an initial transfer into the OPEB Irrevocable Trust Fund established by the board at its February 14, 2019 board meeting, as well as a related investment strategy recommendation. Staff has identified $3,400,541 of available funds in the district's Fund 67 to transfer immediately into the OPEB Irrevocable Trust Fund. These represents or are comprised of $1,069,968 that are allocated for PFT OPEB-related retiree funds, $330,573 allocated to APSM members' retirement OPEB funds, and $2 million of unassigned OPEB fund balance that precedes the current contractual obligations for OPEB contribution on the part of the district. Further, the finance team recommends of the 4 options that we were provided by PARS that the district invest in the PARS balance portfolio to maximize long-term returns while ensuring adequate current income for access and liquidity. We've noted both the benchmark, right, for that portfolio, as well as the expected returns and the trailing returns for that on the green sheet for your edification. By way of comparison, I just did some quick math. Based on the $3.4 million corpus and no other inflows or outflows, if we had kept the money in the county treasurer in 10 years' time, we'd be at $3.7 million. If we use Vanguard's expected return rates over 10 years' time, within 10 years' time, we'd be at $5.4 million. And if we use the trailing averages, in 10 years' time, we'll be at $7.2 million based on the $3.4 million of initial investment. So we seek board's approval this evening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Little. I know we've been talking about this a long time, and it's nice to see we're finally following best practice on this. Thanks for all your effort in making this happen.
Thank you.
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Zane, second by Ms. Couvret. Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
That brings us to item 7.4, 2019 summer facilities projects. Mr. Little.
Yes, thank you, President Patel. This evening, our Facilities Maintenance and Operation Director, Chad Coster, will present to the board what we have planned for this summer. Many projects across many different funding sources. We're excited about the work that's going to get done. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Coster.
All right, thank you. Good evening, Board of Trustees, Dr. Phelps, and Cabinet. So again, we'll go through our proposed summer plan, similar to last year, and we will break it down kind of by funding source. Again, just a quick snapshot of some of the kind of major focus areas where we're at is in front of you, but really looking at making sure that we can maintain building envelopes, keep them dry, keep them in good conditions. HVAC is always a top priority as we go through, as well as some of our energy savings and safety projects, and obviously making sure we've got great classrooms. So let's look at kind of what we've done already in the RMA world. So these are projects that have already been completed. Just kind of a smattering across the board. We've done quite a bit of work on some of our asphalt across the district at several different school sites. So more of those kind of keep going on, and we're trying to get in a better routine maintenance cycle as we go through that to keep those in good shape. And as well as we've done quite a bit of work on Bernardo Heights. Middle School is actually coming up, RB High School, on some of the sidewalk repairs where they were having some lifting sidewalks, and we were able to get a contract to grind those and not have to replace the whole concrete, but remove the trip hazards. So this is a quick look at where we're going to tackle this next week over spring break and kind of take advantage of this week coming up. You can see we've got some repairs that are going to be going on all week at Mount Carmel and their track. Again, the sidewalk repairs I mentioned. We've got 3 more sites where we're going to be working on their parking lots and doing the seal coat and striping work, as well as taking care of a classroom flooring issue at RB. As we move into the summer, and again, this is just out of our RMA account, routine restricted maintenance. The big one on this one probably to highlight is the top one on asphalt replacement. Again, this is a much more in-depth project than some of the other ones where we're just doing a seal coat and it's more of a maintenance application. At Twin Peaks and Tierra Bonita is really the main project there. And it's a complete asphalt replacement. It's out for bid right now, so we hope to be able to bring that contract for approval for award at the next board meeting. This also includes about half of the asphalt at Highland Ranch Elementary School on the playground, and again, it's a complete replacement. So we hope to bring that back. You can see some more kind of our ongoing seal coat projects that are coming up at a handful of our schools. You can see we're doing quite a bit of work at Mount Carmel in a variety of different areas over the summer, from pools to lighting and some painting in the gym that is desperately needed. And just, again, a smattering of other projects that you can see. Total budget, this includes fiscal year 19 and fiscal year 20 budgets, so that totals to about $2 million. As we go into our deferred maintenance pocket again, so this is combined, again, FY19 and FY20 budgets. The big one that we've talked about, Mr. Little mentioned before, is what we hope to get state money as well, is Mesa Verde Middle School and that HVAC project. We're really leveraging multiple funding streams in this to get that project done, and we hope to, we've approved the initial stage. We'll be bringing back a modification to that contract once the final design is done, which will allow us to do that whole entire project this summer, which is great. So we'll replace every fan coil, all the control units, all the valves, as well as the central plants in that school. So it'll basically have a brand new system. So we're really looking forward to that. Again, you can kind of see the other ones that are out there, some roofing and some playground projects as well. This next kind of set of summary is where we're working on our security projects. So we've got work going on in design right now for Poway High School, which is really the largest project and one of the highest ones that was identified in our security report. So that is getting worked right now. And included into that project, it's a little smaller, but at Bernardo Heights and RB High School, the connection from the Performing Arts Center into the fence lines at both campuses will be done as well. So that's kind of probably the single biggest project. You can see, there's the work at Adobe Bluffs to be able to bring in the ESS into the fence line. There's some significant perimeter projects at Garden Road, Tierra Bonita, and Twin Peaks is really where we have either no fence or really very low fence, and so those will bring those up to standard. And then we have multiple sites where they're much smaller projects, but there's little areas where we need to work on fencing. So we'll be going through that, as well as keypads on the ESS doors. As we look at our CFD funding and kind of our major projects that we've been working, obviously Oak Valley Middle School is our large one. It is in review right now at DSA. So once that gets through that process, and we're anxiously waiting for that to happen and get through, once that gets through, then we'll be able to obviously price that out on our lease-back contract, and we'll bring that final negotiated price back for the board approval for that project. But we hope the goal and the timeline is to get started this summer on that project. And then also the project for the moving of portables for Del Norte High School and as well as Bernardo Heights. Now we're leveraging existing portables that we own, but they do need some maintenance and obviously the move. So those are in design as well. They've got a scheduled DSA date for May 16th. So again, just some pretty pictures of what that school design looks like and kind of that layout on the bottom. Proposition 39, another big energy project. So the key on this one, there's about $4.5 million of project funding that is out there. It must all be under contract by the end of this fiscal year. So by June 30th, we must have all that obligated. And then we have another year to actually get those funds expensed. So by June of 2020. I think we're going to be in pretty good shape as we go through that. Really, the projects that are left to go bid out are the LED lighting projects. They're getting ready to go on the street here, hopefully in the next week or two, as well as the stadium lighting at Poway High. That's 4 new poles and LED lighting at the Poway High Stadium. That's in DSA design review, so we're trying to hurry that along and be able to get that one awarded as well. Other just kind of quick snapshots of what we're doing in-house. This is a very small representation of what we do in-house, but these are a few that we're working on. Over this spring break, we are working on some artificial turf at Black Mountain Middle School. That'll really improve that quad, and it's a great partnership project with the foundation there, as well as in our maintenance side, a lot of bottle filling stations, and many schools are approaching us on that, and so those are kind of the next ones in line for bottle filling stations as we go through. So again, summer is a very, very busy time in our world, so we'll be busy. It's good. A lot of stuff going on, but happy to answer any questions for the board.
Which one of those little guys is supposed to be you?
Yeah. Pull these hair out, right?
Thank you, Mr. Coster. Are there any questions from the board?
I just had 2 questions.
Yes, ma'am.
So obviously the high school students are in the thick of the track season. The repairs going on at Mount Carmel on the track, does that impede practices or meets at all?
So we've coordinated with the school, and this was a good time to get in there and get it done. It does take a dedicated 5-day window, so it's going to be Monday through Friday that it's going to take to get through that process. But we have coordinated well with the school, and best of my knowledge, they've given the thumbs up, and we're ready to go.
And I had another question, but it's escaped me. Can we bring back the second to the last slide, because there was something on there that.
This one?
Bottle filling stations.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. Can you expound on that? Because I know, for years, our parent organizations have been, big proponents, and then the district has, been resistant. So it sounds like a change has evolved, and I was wondering if you could just speak to that.
Yeah, so I think
let me just compound on that question, because I don't know. I didn't seek clarification on this, but we approved gifts. 14,000 was one. I was assuming I had heard something about maybe that being for bottle filling stations. I don't know, but I know that I think Del Sur Elementary or some schools around there have been in contact with you just about that. So maybe that relates to what Ms. Beatty was asking about too.
Correct. So Del Sur is one that we're looking at being able to put some additional bottle filling stations, actually put some bottle filling stations on. So the process we've gone through is really being able to leverage our partners and foundations to be able to do this. The resistance in the past really hasn't been the bottle filling stations themselves. The resistance has been the filtration systems, right? And being able to make sure that we've got a good, solid plan to maintain that and change those filters. because it's great. We've got good water, we've got clean water, but in order to do the filtration, you really got to keep up with that maintenance. And so we finally found a company that we're comfortable with, that actually the system will shut itself down if the filters haven't been changed. And so that's kind of the fail-safe zone we have on that. And we're working out, we haven't finalized it, but we're working the language to work with the foundations on if we're going to do the filtration, here's the ongoing maintenance that goes with that. And so you're kind of signing up for that wholesale maintenance contract that goes with the changing. So I think we have a way forward. In fact, I just got an email this afternoon from the filtration company as well.
And so is this then, with regard to each school site where we're moving forward on this, and it looks like, well, it runs the gamut of elementary, middle, and high school, is it being instigated by the school site, the parent groups, and then the district is, negotiating this MOU, or is the district telling school sites or parent groups, here's an option available to you that we're off doing with other sites?
We're providing information to school sites on kind of here's what we've been successful with, and here's kind of some options. We're really looking for outside district funding to be able to put these in at our school sites, and so it's come from multiple different ways. We've had student groups that have funded some of these. We've had parent groups that have funded some of these, and so we're just looking for those options.
There was that, I can't remember the name, Dale something group that was spearheading these around the county. Not the name. I can't remember the name of the organization, but they had done a couple at some coastal school districts. Are you familiar with that organization?
I'm not familiar with that one. I know we did get grant funding 2 years ago to put the one in Westview High School for the bottle filling station there.
That was through former supervisor Dave Roberts back then, because I helped to negotiate that. So that came from the county
Right.
supervisors, but they were trying to get our district to create a partnership with this group. Gosh, I wish I could remember the name. He's a surfer or a skateboarder or something? It was a Dale something group. Anyway, I'll get you the name of it, but they said for any future projects, this is the organization that you should partner with. And I don't know, maybe that organization was then procuring some grant money from the county board of supervisors.
Yeah, again, happy to look into that if we get some information on how to leverage other funding sources. So.
Thank you.
Are there any further questions from the board? Very impressive list. Thank you. Look forward to hearing it.
Thank you.
That closes out our 7s and brings us to 8, which is our Learning Support Services. Agenda item 8.1, ratification of stipulated agreements for student expulsions. Ms. Osborne.
Thank you, Madam President. Tonight we bring forward 4 stipulated agreements for board approval.
Thank you. Case number 2018-2019.14.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Zane, second by Ms. O'Connor-Ratcliffe. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Case number 2018-2019.15.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Zane, second by Ms. O'Connor-Ratcliffe. All those in favor? Aye. Ms. Beatty, I didn't see yours. Sorry, your hair was blocking your view. Motion carries 5-0. Case number 2018-2019.16.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Zane, second by Ms. O'Connor-Ratcliffe. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Case number 2018-2019.18.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Zane, second by Ms. O'Connor-Ratcliffe. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. That brings us to agenda item 8.2, readmission of students on expulsion. Ms. Osborne.
Thank you, Dr. Patel. Tonight we bring forward 2 readmissions of students on expulsion. All of these students have met the conditions of their contracts to be eligible for readmission.
Thank you. For case number 2017-2018.833.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ms. O'Connor Ratcliffe, second by Mr. Zane. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Case number 2017-2018.35.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ms. O'Connor Ratcliffe, second by Mr. Zane. All those in favor? Aye. Ms. Beatty? Thank you. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. That brings us to agenda item 11.1. This is the selection of 2 board members for the 2019-2020 Student Board Member Selection Committee. I'm open to self-nominations at this time.
I would like to nominate
sorry.
myself.
Dr. Phelps.
Thank you, Madam President. 11.1 requests board action to select 2 representative board members for the 2020 Student Board Member Selection Committee in accordance with the board bylaws 9150. The 2 representative board members will serve on an interview panel along with the outgoing student board member and the superintendent or my designee to select the new student board member for next school year.
I am now open to self-nominations.
Now I'll nominate myself. I think this is very important. I really enjoy meeting these impressive students.
I will also nominate myself, seeing as we need 2 board members. Are there any other nominations? Right, then that just goes by. Do we still have to vote? There's only 2 nominations? Okay,
Motion to approve the 2 nominations put forward.
thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. With a motion by Mr. Zane, a second by Ms. Couvrette. All those in favor? Aye. And Jake's preferential?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0. Thank you. And that brings us to item 12.1, board member reports. Start at the end. Mr. Schwartz?
Hello, Power Unified. I apologize for my lateness or tardiness today. I work with kids, and if anyone has kids, you understand that it can sometimes be a little difficult getting out on time.
Tell us about it. Tell us more.
So I want to start off by talking about Westview had its WASP committee come. I got to sit in on the the reception along with board member Corvette and Ms. O'Connor Ratcliffe and Dr. Patel. I think that was everyone there. I don't want to forget anyone again. And that was awesome because I've never sat through a WASP committee before, and that was really interesting to see the process that we go through. I also got to attend the Del Sur Heritage Night along with Ms. Couvrette. That was so amazing, that event. Seeing all the cultures and students and their passions come together and present to the entire student body, and how excited they were, and all the performances was absolutely amazing. I also got to attend the Duct Tape Fashion Show. That was an awesome event. As a kid, I used to always play with duct tape, and I used to make these huge creations. And these students came in with full gowns of duct tape, and it was the most. I was blown away, and I got to be a judge, and they even made me a special little wallet, which I'm starting to use. But it was so cool. I also got to speak at What I Wish My Parents Knew. That was super intriguing because it's interesting to see all these new incoming parents and what their questions are, and how I already went through all this and how I can give them a certain degree of advice because I've been through a lot of these scenarios before. So I definitely think it's a very beneficial program towards many parents, and it was just awesome. I am extremely excited to sit on the new board member panel. I've been working and reaching out with many new students who are interested in the position itself. I believe it's super critical that the next board member is very interested in the position and is very devoted to PowayUSD. So I really hope I can encourage the right people, help teach the right people on what to do, what not to do. I'm working on a huge binder right now on everything that you need to know. And then I also have found out from colleges that was a long way for waiting. So I actually heard back. I got admitted to, some people are judging me for this one, but I actually got accepted to Brown, but I decided to not go with them due to financial reasons. I'm actually going to be attending George Washington University in Washington, D.C. a very large scholarship for pre-medical for 7 years, the 7-year pre-medical program. So I'll be in and out in 7 years. Thank you. It's very exciting. I met with my roommate yesterday, actually, and one of them is from San Diego, and I'm so excited. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schwartz. Mr. Zane?
Congratulations. So Neil Pujar was a senator, and Jake Schwartz will be known as doctor. That's excellent. My report will be relatively brief this evening. Admittedly, I've been very selfish the past month since the last board meeting, and in much of my own time, I've been spending, and I've enjoyed every minute of it, going to watch my son's volleyball games, Mount Carmel Sun Devils, as well as a couple orchestra performances, including last evening, and one about 2 weeks ago at Eastlake High School in Chula Vista. And let me just say, though, it's really fun to go to these things and kind of wear two hats, a Sun Devil dad as well as a PUSD trustee, particularly those games in which we're playing other PUSD schools, because PUSD always wins, right? PUSD always wins. And so I'm going to not give some remarks. I know they're going to be covered by others as far as the awards program ceremony we went to in Anaheim. And just give a shout out, a thank you to Miss Latang, who I saw last night at the Poway Band and Orchestra Festival, for all the hard work she's doing. It was a pleasure seeing her there. And because between now and next board meeting is Easter, I wish all my friends out there a peaceful and blessed Easter.
We were actually counting on you giving the report, so ours would be shorter.
Oh, is that right?
Ms. Beatty.
I think Marion's happy. No report. Thank you.
Ms. Gouret?
I have to say, PUSD has so many fun events that even today I had 3 overlapping, and it's just so frustrating not to be able to go where I want to go. I just need a little bit longer day and not have to work. But anyway, I want to start out actually right before St. Patrick's Day. Poway High School had a fantastic foundation party and fundraiser right over here. And it was really cool that not only a lot of parents showed up, but a lot of administrators and teachers were there too, which really showed their appreciation for the support. So that was a whole lot of fun. Jake and a few of us were at the WASC meeting at Westview, and it's really nice to hear outsiders say how amazing our high schools are, and that's just a testament to how wonderful Westview is and all our schools. I also joined the ladies at the Building Inclusive Schools at Mount Carmel as we're trying to do really help all the kids feel included and work with our special needs community, and to see the schools that were there so excited about being part of this incredible program is wonderful to see that enthusiasm. Jake and I had fun at the Heritage Night. If you guys haven't been, don't eat before you go, because every country has amazing food. The administrators and parents dance like you would never believe, and the costumes are phenomenal. So that was a fantastic night. Dr. Patel and I went down to the Education Budget Forum with the county to understand from our state senators what we're looking at for budget, and I'm sure Dr. Patel will expand on that, but it's always interesting to hear about the sources of money and hopefully what we're going to get. Sorry, I have my list here. They let me drive to Anaheim for the awards. I don't know if I'll be allowed to do that again, but that was a lot of fun, and we got there in record time. But that was, yeah. But that was just a wonderful event to be able to congratulate our district on its success, as well as Mount Carmel and Meadowbrook Middle School. So that was a wonderful night. Then I really want to give a shout out to Mr. Mazel and Ms. King for the CAC meeting on Monday. We had about 100 people here of parents that are having kids transitioning from high school and what their possibilities and their paths for success are. And not only was it phenomenally organized, but I think the parents really appreciated the advice that you guys produced for them. So thank you, and all the folks I know that supported you for that event. And that brings me today. So thank you.
Ms. O'Connor-Ratcliffe.
I'm going to keep some of the staff recognition rolling. Sometimes a Poway Unified employee impresses another person so much that that person is moved to tell others about it. And I had three times out of the blue that happened with me. I got a voicemail from a retired teacher who described how he had recently needed some advice on his insurance benefits, and he wanted to make sure that I knew how impressed he was with Christine Gold and Karen Freitas, and what a wonderful job they do supporting employees and retirees. I got an email from a parent applauding Robert Townsend from Westview Drama for the amazing work he's doing over there with their theater program. And I got an email from a woman who's running an out-of-state nonprofit, and despite getting some bad news from this person she talked to at Del Norte, she still felt compelled to write this email to me to tell me how impressed she was with Ryan Salter's patience, kindness, and professionalism with her. So kudos to those employees. It's always, you're either awesome or horrible, because nobody ever says anything when you're in between. So congratulations to these people who were awesome. Now my VAPA report. I saw 3 high school musicals and several band orchestra performances, Westview's The Addams Family, RB's Peter Pan, and Mount Carmel's Wizard of Oz. If you are a theater lover, but you don't like the ticket prices or the drive to downtown, you really, truly don't need to look any further than our own backyard here for some true theater magic. Music excellence, too, by the way. The pit orchestras were exceptional. I also saw some of that firsthand today over at the PowayUSD Band and Orchestra Festival. I think today is the last night. This is the pay night anyway, so you could have gotten it for free earlier today. I'll let you talk about that one, though. Okay. I visited a few school sites this month, too. Principal Corso at Black Mountain hosted a great principal's coffee chat with parents. It's always interesting to see what the parents want to know. What are they talking about? Because that really gives you a clue about what's going on at this school. But they were very excited, and he talked a lot about new enrichment opportunities coming for our students there, particularly for me, the after-school Mandarin program that's about to appear over there to continue that pathway that a lot of the students who matriculate from the Adobe Bluffs Mandarin program most of them go to Black Mountain, and now starting very soon, I think next year, maybe later this year, though I can't remember what he said, there will be a pathway, an after-school enrichment program at Black Mountain, so that was exciting. I also was at Poway High to visit Principal Nash, and we definitely got in our steps for that day. We did a full perimeter tour. I think we might have gone around twice, checking out all the facilities there. There are a lot of opportunities there, and I'm glad to see some of that was on our facilities summer job list there. I'll tag on to what Ms. Couvrette said. I'm really excited about the work we're doing to advance and improve our special education programs in our district. We announced our 3 model schools for the specialized academic instruction for next year, and we're offering this professional development to all of the schools who applied for that designation. I've been able to attend a couple of those workshops that are part of our Building Inclusive Schools series, so building school culture with these 2 ladies, led by our amazing teacher on special assignment, Megan Gross, over at Mount Carmel. That was great. I wish I'd been able to stay for the whole day. And earlier this week, the second in the series, Universal Design for Learning, also led by Ms. Gross, and Trinidad Sevilla, another one of our TOSAs in our LSS. That was over at Twin Peaks, another great one, and I think I left just in time because they were about to start planning lessons, and that was pretty rigorous for me. I was starting to lose it a little bit, but they were amazing. I'd like to close it off, I guess. We're talking about some of our special education changes, but this is very real for me. This past weekend was the Race for Autism down in Balboa Park. It was a beautiful morning, superhero theme, so superheroes everywhere you look. I saw Pomerado Elementary School's team and hung out with them. They offered me donuts. I tried to stay away. More or less successful. The money raised from that particular race all stays in San Diego, and it's the source of the educator grants that 15 teachers from Poway Unified received earlier this year. So this is a good one. If you're going to be involved with one thing this year, this one, we get money back to our teachers here from this one. So thank you to everyone who helped promote awareness, acceptance, appreciation for people with autism this month and always. There's 1 month for it, but you know, it's a lifetime piece of work for me. So thank you to everyone out there who is trying to do the same. That's it.
And I will conclude board reports. Good evening, everybody. 1 month in Poway never fails to disappoint. This month has had its fair share of excitement with spring musicals, recognitions, and educational leadership work. I was also delighted to attend the Addams Family production at Westview. It's really fantastic to see the talents both on stage, backstage, and in the music pit. We often forget that we're seeing student productions that are done all the while studying for final exams and doing their athletic competitions. These kids are doing theater also. And it's just amazing to see these level of student productions. I wasn't able to make any of the other ones, but apparently Mount Carmel's stage set was phenomenal too. They got sold. That's pretty amazing. I participated in a STEM advisory group webinar conducted by CSBA with the California PTA joining in to provide input. During the presentation, they covered topics like how to talk about next generation science standards with the parent community, as well as textbook adoptions. The next meeting of this advisory group is on April 23rd and will cover computer science standards. I also participated in the WASC walk, and it was covered pretty well, but I just wanted to add, I personally, after observing how the committee was discussing items with staff, I think they were there to get ideas. I didn't get the impression that they were there to evaluate us. I got the impression that they wanted to know what was in our magic sauce and how to spread that elsewhere. I did sit on that SAI training session with Megan Gross, and I'm happy to see this work is moving along, as well as expectations are being set and goals are being understood. I think it's very important for any program to be successful that we have a proper understanding of expectation and goals, and it's good to see that that's all underway. I'd like to extend congratulations once again to our 2019 Teachers of the Year, Sarah McCracken at Midland Elementary, Colleen Montgomery at Rancho Bernardo High School, and Stephen Whitaker at Oak Valley Middle School. Truly, being part of this surprise team that walks in and shows up at these schools, oftentimes with classrooms full of students, is the highlight of the year. It's really exciting and fantastic and kind of cool. We're so proud of the dedication and care that these teachers and all of our staff bring to our students every day. This month, I also attended the SWAC meeting where there was deep discussion on suicide prevention from the Suicide Prevention Council of San Diego County. One positive takeaway from this meeting is their recognition of the What I Wish My Parents Knew program, which was listed as exemplary in their countywide newsletter and as a model for other school districts to emulate. So it's really fantastic that our program is getting recognition. I did attend the San Diego Budget Forum sponsored by Senate Pro Tem Toni Atkins. She had an economist and a policy expert there to answer questions. Although I must say that I think we probably understand that state budget a little better than what they were willing to disclose during that meeting. It was a great opportunity to stress the challenges to them that we face in public education right now. And I was able to go to the microphone and talk about how the rising cost of pension obligations, cost of special education, and to stress that we need to properly and adequately fund existing programs, really before starting new ones or earmarking special funds for new programs. We have existing programs that are vastly underfunded. We were well represented at the California Department of Education Awards, and where we received the 2019 Exemplary District Award, as well as California Distinguished School Awards. I won't talk more about that since that was covered, and I'm sure Dr. Phelps will cover it also. I also attended the Facilities Master Plan District Leadership Team meeting on April 3rd, where we discussed the scope of work in a little bit more strategic detail than what you heard today. And I am very excited to face these challenges up ahead. I know that sounds strange, but I'm really excited to provide the facilities that our students and our community frankly deserve. I have confidence in our team and our community, and I believe our community is ready to participate. I think it's going to be a good showing. This week, I was able to spend 2 afternoons at the Poway Band and Orchestra Festival. For those unfamiliar, this is a regional opportunity for secondary school music programs to be professionally adjudicated by a distinguished panel of Southern California School Band and Orchestra judges. While there are no awards given, they do receive ratings. Our bands will receive ratings including superior, excellent, good, and the lower ones I don't mention because we just don't get those. In fact, I was there sitting in on a sight reading for Mesa Verde's middle school, their highest level band, and one of the judges there was so impressed with how their sight reading went. He said that it was too easy for them and asked them to sight read high school music. And when they performed exceptionally well sight reading in 2 minutes' time of being able to review that music, he actually complimented them that their playing was much better than many high schools he has seen throughout the state. So I'd like to just point out that our high school and middle school music programs really are phenomenal. And as a community, we should feel proud to support these students in their music achievements. That concludes my report. Thank you. Oh, I guess I'm not done. And that brings us to item 12.2, Superintendent's Report. Dr. Phelps.
Thank you, Madam President. I think you just ruined your ability to have the fastest, shortest board meeting through your long board report. I want to congratulate Jake on his acceptance to George Washington. My sister went to medical school there. Congratulations. I know you'll have a great time. I want to thank the board for your unanimous support of the contracts for the associate soups. I just want to in short say that I couldn't do this work without them. They are my left and my right arm, my left and my right feet. And the work that we've had to do since we first all came on board here has been ginormous. And what we've accomplished has been a lot in the short time that we've been working together. And so, you know, I couldn't do it without your support, and I appreciate your support in supporting our cabinet as well. We have many recognitions to note tonight to present to the board. I encourage you all to look for the full description in 12.2. I encourage you to read them in the interest of time, and I just have a few that I'd like to highlight. It was an honor to represent PUSD as at the California Department of Education California Distinguished Schools and California Exemplary District Awards ceremony last week in Anaheim. Board and cabinet members, as well as Principal Magno from Mount Carmel and Principal Brownlee from Meadowbrook, joined us in celebrating our achievements on behalf of the student and the district. And as has been repeatedly stated, that the district did recognize being the most exemplary district in San Diego County for 2019 and was recognized so by the State Department. So we're very proud of the work that we've accomplished here in the district. We have also several student teams heading to national competitions, including Cyber Patriot, Odyssey of the Mind, Robotics, and DECA, and I wish them all good luck. It was an honor and pleasure to surprise all of our PUSD Teachers of the Year, Sarah McCracken from Midland Elementary, Stephen Whitaker from Oak Valley Middle School, Colleen Montgomery from Rancho Bernardo High School. We'll honor all of our employees and volunteers of the year at a future board meeting. This month, our Studio 701 turned their cameras on themselves because they are in recruiting mode for next year's interns, so they wanted to take us behind the scenes.
Hey, I'm Damian Henson. This internship provides students a place to create some of the highest quality video with access to the best equipment in the industry. This is a behind-the-scenes look of what we do here at Studio 701. Studio 701 is made up of some of PUSD's most advanced digital media students who come together to produce professional films for the district and its communities. The internship gives students a place to expand on their professional experience, building a stronger foundation of photography, filmmaking, and journalistic storytelling. Every year, a select group of students apply and are chosen from high schools across Poway Unified to represent Studio 701.
I would highly recommend anyone that's interested in learning more or expanding their digital media skills, or if you just kind of want to do something different, Studio 701 is really cool. The fact that we're able to work with real industry standard gear and go on these professional shoots in high school, that's one of the most amazing things and so rare.
Students are immersed into the entire planning and production process, producing videos, photo essays, and social media posts, highlighting college and career readiness programs. Through this, interns learn how to improve their communication skills and work as a team.
We work together month after month on different projects, and it's kind of, you just get to see what it would like to be in a real gig or a real job or a real just environment like a studio or something where everyone's constantly bouncing ideas off of each other and creating together.
Things that they learn in here that are applicable to any career path. Time management, interacting with people professionally, correspondence, how to craft a story, how to write, it all comes together.
The internship was formed in 2016 as a partnership with the Communications and Career Technical Education departments. It started with video students and expanded to include photo students. This allows interns interested in photography to enhance their skill set.
For me, when I came in, I didn't know a lot about photographing events live in action where it's, photojournalism. I can't change stuff. I can't adjust it. I did a lot of portraits and landscapes. In this internship, it's all quick, fast. You have that one chance to do it. As soon as you get it, it's very rewarding, and I think it's really helped me grow in that way.
The Studio 701 interns form connections and receive mentoring from industry professionals and hands-on learning through in-class presentations.
You get to have guest speakers come in. So I brought Todd Glaser in. He's one of the head photographers for Surfer Magazine. Todd Glaser taught me a lot about not just photography, but real-life experiences. He taught me to persevere even through the really hard times and really believe in your work.
Several interns have continued on after graduation in related majors, with an advantage over other students without internship experience.
If I look back into my career as a broadcast journalist, I really think what would have prepared me for my college and career experience, and that would have been an internship. They're already learning all the technical skills and the professional skills, soft skills that are needed to collaborate, to work together on projects, and it's invaluable to take that experience into college and career.
As you can see, there's a lot going on in this internship.
And
for the Excellence in Education series, I'm Damian Henson, Studio 701.
Interns, along with our CTE programs from across the district, including sports medicine, fire science, biomedical science, graphic design, agriculture, and many more, will be showcasing their work at our annual CTE Student Expo, which is on April 30th at the Sony headquarters. This is a fantastic display of our students' learning and college and career readiness, and we hope to see you all there. I am excited as our district embarks on the facility master plan work. As you saw Mr. Little and Director Koster's presentation, we'll be creating a plan according to what we and our stakeholders believe is the future for our district in education. What should our classrooms look like as we continue to create world-class learners? We want to ensure Poway Unified stays on the cutting edge of preparing our students for college and career and life. And we will be soliciting input from our district community facilities committee, which will meet at the end of the month. I want to thank committee members in advance for their hard work. Earlier this month, we had our federal state monitoring audit. Every district looks forward to that. Not. This was Poway's turn, and this is we hadn't been audited since 8 years ago, I think, more than 8 years. So it's been a long time. So. Anyways, the federal and state law requires that the California Department of Ed monitors the implementation of all the districts that have categorical programs. And so they did an extensive data review, an on-site visit, intensive financial analysis of our district. And I just want to thank Mercedes Humschmidt, our LSS department, all of our staff, our BSS department, finance, especially Joy Ramiro and Joe Tarantino for all their hard work. The committee or the state representatives in our final exit interview told me that out of all the districts they've ever audited, that our district was the most professional, and we had the least amount of findings. We only had 2 very minor findings that have already been corrected, and they were very impressed, from all of our staff to our schools, our site principals, and our students. So they said that they had heard great things about Poway, but they didn't know and experienced it firsthand when they came, and they truly enjoyed their visit, and they were impressed with our staff and the work that they did. So I just want to thank everybody, because I know it's a very tough process, and essentially all their work had to come to a halt in order to meet the deadlines and provide all the data necessary for that process. Earlier this month, I was thrilled to accompany Assistant Superintendent Greg Mizell and his team, as well as our PFT President, Kelly Logan, and PSCA President, Courtney Davis Martin, to announce our 3 model schools for our SAI, Specialized Academic Instruction Schools. Congratulations to Monterey Ridge Elementary School, Twin Peaks Middle School, and Mount Carmel High School for their excellent work in instructing students with disabilities. They will serve as our pilot schools for PUSD's initiative to increase instruction in the least restrictive environment. PUSD believes that all students, including those with disabilities, are general education students first. Congratulations to our special ed staff, our school staff, and our employee groups for their collaborative work in order to make this possible for our kids. Finally, we are in the midst of state testing, and with students in grades 3 through 8th and 10th grades taking the California Assessment for Student Performance and Progress, we wish all of our students the very best as they are heading into testing. The tests provide an opportunity to measure the skills of all students statewide against the same academic math and language arts and science standards. Our teachers and our principals also use these results to compare a school's performance towards achieving state standards. Parents, while these tests are a way to review your child's academic progress, they are just one of several factors that we know we have to consider. Projects, writing assignments, math exercises, classroom assessments, informal assessments are all just examples of how these information together can contribute to having a clear picture of our students and how they're progressing through their grade level. So I just want to say that I took us over 8 o'clock. And that I want to wish everybody
Thank you for that. Thank you.
a happy spring break. And I hope that everybody has a restful and enjoyable spring break and come back rejuvenated. And I want to thank all of the staff and everybody for all of your hard work. And thank you.
All right, that brings us to item 14. The next regularly scheduled board meeting will be held on Thursday, May 9th, 2019 at 6 p.m. at the Poway Unified School District office right here. And meeting is adjourned at 8:02. Thank you.